everybody, and welcome back to the Mother-Daughter Disney podcast. My name's Amanda. I'm here with my very lovely mother sitting across from me.
Hi, I'm Jeanette.
And we were very fortunate. We got to see an early screening of the new Disney movie, Wish. So we saw it on November 18th. The movie officially comes out on November 22nd. So by the time you are listening to this, if you're listening live, we are going to go over a non-spoiler review and a spoiler review. So first, we're going to start with our non-spoiler review. So some quick, fast facts about the movie. This is the description from IMDb. Young Asha makes a wish so powerful that is answered by a cosmic force, a little ball of boundless energy called Star. With Star's help, Asha must save her kingdom from King Magnifico and prove that when the will of one courageous human connects with the magic of the stars, wondrous things can happen. The movie is directed by Fawn Veerasunthorn and Chris Buck. And again, it was released on November 22nd. The cast, the main characters here, we have Ariana DeBose as Asha, Chris Pine as King Magnifico, Alan Tudyk as Valentino the Goat, Angelique Cabal as Queen Amaya, and Natasha Rothwell as Sakina, Asha's mother. And for some reason, her grandfather is not on this list, so sorry about that. I don't have him. But he is also a grandfather too in the movie as well. And then her friends, she has 7 friends in the movie that we'll go into later. Yeah, all right, so for a non-spoiler review, what did you think of the movie?
Me first?
Yeah, would you recommend it to people?
Yes, I thought it was very good. It's definitely a children's movie, not an adult movie, but it makes so many references in it that the adults are entertained to a certain extent. And plus, I thought the animation was great. I thought the characters were great. The only thing I don't think the soundtrack really did anything for me, but as if I had kids, I would bring them to it. It was really good.
Yeah, I would agree. I feel like the way that the story is told is in a very simplistic Disney way.
Yes.
That a young child, 5 years old, will very easily be able to follow along, know exactly what's going on, not be confused or anything like that. I think the music is fun, again, like for children. Like the music is very storytelling, which I actually kind of like because, like a jukebox musical, what they call those. Yeah. It's like the jukebox musicals are ones where they can take the song out of the musical and it could be a standalone song. None of the songs in this movie necessarily are like that. They're all very tied to the story. Which
they're mostly telling the story while they're singing.
But that's actually kind of why I like the music almost to a certain extent, because I think that's fun when it is an integrated part of the plot and the story rather than just, you can remove it and just listen to it. So I would also recommend it too. I thought the movie was really great. I thought it was so fun. I did tear up at the end, as you often do with Disney movies. I loved the animation. It's a very unique style of animation. I know it's a new style of animation. It's blending like 3D and 2D
I thought
animation.
It was great.
Yeah, it looked lovely. Absolutely loved it. I love the coloring of the movie too. It has a lot of like blues and grays.
Yes, the coloring, everything about it was just very soothing, very nice, very pleasant to look at.
Yeah, the movie too has great representation, of course, with ethnicity and diversity. So everybody. I really love that. It's always great to see that in movies, and Disney's been so good about that recently, having that embedded in all their movies where it's not actually obvious. Obviously, you just kind of see it and you just enjoy it. So really love the movie overall.
Well, I thought it was also a testament to the fact that the movie theater that we were in was half adults, half children. There were a couple of families with kids and whatever. And I gotta say, other than one family whose kids were running all over the place from the minute they got there, the kids sat in their seats. There wasn't a peep. Yeah. I think they were really enthralled in the movie, even at the end when the credits were rolling, because they do a really great thing at the end of during the credits on the screen. The kids were even intrigued by that. Yeah. I'm sure once we get into the other spoilers, you'll mention that. But it was the first time I've ever seen everybody sit almost to the end of the credits.
Yeah, I told my mom that I think part of it is because we were one of the first showings publicly of the movie. No one knows if there was an after credit scene. So now, once the movie comes out on November 22nd, you can just Google what's the after credit scene and decide if you want to stay or not stay. Right. But when we stayed, we didn't know if there was going to be. So I think a lot of people.
No, but a lot of times, even when they do that, when people know there's going to be something at the end, the kids are already up out of their seats. People are already putting on their coats and getting ready to leave and doing whatever, waiting for the end. Everybody was sitting in their seats through the credits, which I thought was something that I'd never noticed before.
No, for sure. All right, so I'm going to put my editing self in here right now just to let you know where the end of the spoiler review is going to be and where the beginning of our Disney news will be. So definitely skip ahead. Or again, if you want to listen and just hear our full thoughts on the movie before it comes out, if you don't have a chance to see it, it is Thanksgiving week when this movie is coming out. So again, lots of people are busy, families visiting, so you may not have a chance to see it and may just want to hear what the movie's about. Okay, feel free to skip ahead to around minute 25 and maybe a little bit after minute 25. We kind of talk a little bit more about the movie afterwards, but there's no spoilers after minute 25. So all right, we're going to get into our spoiler review now. So now we can kind of talk a bit more about the cast. So in the cast, Asha has 7 friends that kind of work in the kitchens of the castle. The 7 friends are based off the 7 dwarves of Snow White. So my mom did not notice this.
Didn't even notice it.
I told her afterwards, I was just like, I thought it was clever how they were supposed to be this, like, based off the seven dwarves.
As soon as she said it, I got it. But I was like, didn't even get that while I was watching the movie.
Yes, so we had Jennifer Kumiyama as Dahlia, who's Asha's best friend. She's represented by Doc. Harvey Guillen as Gabo, a boy who is cynical but has a heart of gold. He's grumpy. I'm getting this from Wikipedia now, the descriptions. Nico Vargas as Hal, a joyful girl who she is happy. Evan Peters as Simon, a strong boy with a big heart. He's sleepy. Rami Youssef as Safi, a boy who's plagued with allergies, who is sneezy. John Rudaneski as Dario, Asha's rosy-cheeked and wiggly-eared friend, who is dopey. Della Saba as Bazima, a shy girl who represents bashful. So I really love that. I thought that was really cute.
Yeah, it
I
was.
immediately realized it once we saw Dopey because he looks like Dopey. Like the coloring of his hat, his shirt, his ears. I was like, oh, he's definitely supposed to be Dopey. Then once you realize that, you quickly put together Sleepy and Sneezy next because they're the most obvious.
They did a great
ones.
job of representing it. Even at one point, the Grumpy says, and that's why I'm grumpy.
Yes.
Yeah.
So really kind of putting it out there too.
Right.
And so, yeah, so I really love that too. Even the girl who played Doc, she actually kind of looks like Snow White. She kind of has the short hair like
the
Snow
short
White
hair.
and the coloring of what her outfit is sort of like Snow White, even though she is supposed to represent Doc. And she does have the little glasses that Doc
glasses
wears as
like
well.
Doc,
So that's
yeah.
kind of what I noticed too. All right, we're going to go in now into the overall summary. So I tried to pare this down as best I could. It's only 1.5 pages, so hopefully I won't linger too long on this. But yeah, so now we're going to go through again an overall summary of the movie. The movie opens up with our narrator reading our fairy tale. Asha's grandfather, Saba, is 100 years old and he is yet to have his wish granted. So the backstory of their town in Rosa, people come here to offer their wish to King Magnifico. The king is a powerful sorcerer who has magic to grant wishes. When you're 18 and older, you can offer your wish to King Magnifico, and every month he grants one person's wish to come through. Although then he said last year he granted 14, so I guess he does some bonus wish ceremonies
wishes.
too. But he only does it, it's kind of around once a month. However, when you offer your wish to King Magnifico, it leaves you and you kind of forget what it is. So he like holds your wish from you. So it still exists in like the world, but you just don't know what it is. So again, Saba is 100 years old. He doesn't remember his wish and he's been waiting a very long time. Then Asha goes to visit her friends in the kitchen and they're all excited for her because she has an interview to be the king's apprentice. Asha immediately connects with the queen who brings her to the interview, saying that the crux of the kingdom is on generosity and caring for others. Asha is obviously very nervous for the interview and she kind of flubs a bit when she tries to touch a powerful and forbidden spell book with forbidden magic. But then she does end up connecting with the king when she tells him about how her father passed when she was 12. And they kind of like they talk about how him and her used to look at the stars and wonder about life together. The king then invites her into his study where she sees the wishes, where he keeps and protects the wishes. I thought this was kind of crazy. I'm like, wow, that was pretty quick. It's like
I know.
when he was like, I only invite a few people into the study to see the wishes. I'm like, and you just met this girl about 2 minutes ago. I was like, okay.
There would be no story if you didn't do that.
We then get this really lovely song. It's kind of sung like a love song, but it's basically a song where they kind of dance with the wishes and he kind of sings about loving to protect the wishes and wanting to keep the wishes his. And she sings more about the love for her family, but it's all based around the wishes. Immediately after the song, she finds her grandfather's wish and she asks the king to grant his wish for his 100th birthday. And the king is immediately discouraged. He says that for her, it was very quick for someone to ask something of him. He kind of says like normally people wait a few months before they start asking him for things. And then he examines the wish and says that the wish isn't a good wish to grant. Her grandfather wishes to inspire, but inspire what? It could be for the good or for the bad. And he says it's too vague of a wish. So he will not grant it and he will not give it back to him. So he's keeping all the wishes and Asha disagrees with this. She feels like if he's not going to grant someone's wish, then that person should have the control to decide if they are going to pursue their biggest wish, their biggest dream or not. And so now the wish ceremony is starting. She's brought on stage so she can't run away and he grants a different person's wish to make beautiful dresses. When Asha gets home, she tells her family what she saw and her grandfather at first is very discouraged by her. He doesn't want to know what his wish was. He's kind of on Magnifico's side saying if my wish is not meant to be granted, then it shouldn't be granted. And Asha ends up running away just being upset. And that's when she sings kind of the title song of the whole movie where she sings about wishing and things like that. And here she makes a wish upon a star to get her mother and her grandfather's wishes back so they could have their own ownership and power over their own wishes. The star then shines very bright and literally falls from the sky and everyone in the town sees this happen. They're like, wow, what is this amazing thing of magic? It felt so great. It felt so lovely. And when the star comes down, it starts bringing everything to life. It makes the animals talk. They sing a whole song about how everyone's a star. It brings the trees to life. It brings the mushrooms to life. Like a very typical Disney movie in that sense. Everything's come to life and talking to her.
And they're cute too.
Yeah, including her goat Valentino.
Right, they're all cute.
She goes back to the castle and meets her friends and they discover that star was the reason for the Surge of Magic. So again, she tells her 7 friends. And then her best friend, the girl who represents Doc, she asks her to find a way to break into the study so she can get her grandfather and her mother's wish back. So at this point, she's not looking to release all of the wishes. She just wants her grandfather's wish and her mother's wish. So she ends up using the cubby that they send up food to the study. And meanwhile, Magnifico calls a town hall with everyone in the town so that he can figure out who casted that bit of magic, because he immediately realizes that he immediately knows, obviously, it's not his magic, but he immediately jumps to the conclusion that that magic is going to threaten his magic, which I thought that was a pretty big conclusion to jump to.
Yeah, well, it was competition. That was the problem. Magnifico obviously is very in love with himself.
Yeah.
So he wants to make sure there's no competition.
Yeah, so he immediately jumps to that conclusion, which I mean, like, he kind of has to, because we got to get the plot moving. It's only an hour and a half movie.
Right.
So people then, again, her friend is trying to like stall him before he goes back to study. So then she starts asking him questions like, well, what counts as, like, if we have information, what counts for this? And then people start questioning his power, saying, so how come you know it's amateur magic? Why can't you control that? Why can't we see the wishes? Maybe if you granted more wishes,
people
like,
start
we'd feel better.
questioning because they all jump on the bandwagon.
Yeah, so he gets very frustrated with them, and he says that anyone who turns into person is guaranteed to get their wish granted, and anyone who hides traitor will be guaranteed to, like, never get their wish granted, basically. So Asha somehow successfully breaks in, and the star finds her grandfather's wish, but they kind of run out of time. At this point now, Magnifico is singing his own, like, song, kind of about loving himself, and, like, that he's so powerful and that people should be thankful for what he's given them all this life and protecting them, and,
he's getting no
creating
respect.
this whole kingdom. But then he kind of digs himself into his own hole. He kind of convinces himself to use the forbidden magic. And I kind of skipped this before, but in a previous scene, he thought about using the forbidden magic, but his wife had stopped him, being like, no, like, you agreed, like, that's not good magic to touch. But in this moment, he kind of does it himself, and he opens up the forbidden book of magic, and he starts, using the forbidden magic. So again, Asha only got her grandfather's wish. She didn't get her mother's wish, but she runs home and she returns her grandfather's wish. And when she returns home, her grandfather realized that he was kind of wrong, and he's very happy that she did get his wish, and he kind of forgives her, and she forgives him. And then she returns his wish, and it kind of like is absorbed back into him. And then Magnifico breaks into their home. He just opens up the door because someone ratted her out, and then he destroys her mother's wish, and her mother is thrust into a deep grief. She almost falls, like she's dying almost, because a huge part of her has just been destroyed. However, somehow Asha just throws a bookshelf on him, and they get away. The fact that one bookshelf took down the most powerful sorcerer in their whole kingdom, I think was kind of funny. Yeah, but then they run away. They get on a boat, basically, and they try to escape to, like, a little island. But as they're running away, Asha realizes that she can't let him take everyone's wishes. So this is when she's like, no, we're going back, and we're going to rescue everyone's wish. So she goes back, and then Magnifico yet is having another town hall, lots of town halls, where he's honoring Simon. Simon represents Sleepy, and he was the friend who ratted her out. So I kind of skipped over this too, but out of all of her friends, Simon was the only one of her friends who was 18. So Simon had already given his wish to King Magnifico, and they all commented that after Simon had given his wish to him, he kind of changed. He became a lot sadder and a lot more kind of withdrawn. So I think in his mind, he was worried that he would never get his wish granted, that, he lost a big part of himself once he gave up his wish. So King Magnifico grants his wish. His wish was to be a loyal knight of, one of the best and most loyal knights of the whole kingdom. And then Magnifico is using the forbidden magic to mind control him. So their friends can kind of see that he's being mind controlled a little bit. Simon then just immediately rats out the rest of the team. He just names the other 6 friends. Right. Just like, yep, they were also in on it as well.
They're all doing it too.
So they run away. And while this is happening, they Star enchants like a little mouse to go fill in the queen of kind of what's going on, because she kind of knows that he's using forbidden magic right now, and she doesn't really like it. She's quite scared. She knows that forbidden magic is not good. Like, she kind of has already seen that Magnifico is absorbed by this forbidden magic, and he no longer is who he once was. So Asha catches up with her friends, and they decide to fight back, and the queen also kind of catches up with them too. She agrees. The plan is for Asha and the fake Star to run and draw Magnifico away from the castle, and then real Star and the friends will go and break into the study and release all of the wishes. And the rest of the team, they go to the study, they open up the ceiling to release the wishes, but then Asha realized that it wasn't actually Magnifico who's chasing after her. It was Simon in kind of like a magic disguise, and Magnifico is able to recapture all of the wishes and Star. And at this point, all of the town are back out. It's like the town is just hanging out in the town courtyard at this point.
They're all in
one
trouble.
Big town hall.
Right.
Asha does make it back in time, but at this point, he's already absorbed Star's power into his magical staff, and he forces everyone in the kingdom now to submit to him. Like, he's gone full bad guy at this point. Right. So Asha then remembers from that song she sang with the magical creatures in the forest that they were all stars. And so she kind of brings the kingdom together to break his enchantment over them and to release Star and all the wishes. And then he is absorbed into his own staff. So the day is saved. Simon apologizes, and Star gives Asha a real magic wand, knowing that he has to leave soon, but that they're in good hands. And the queen now takes over as ruler of the kingdom. And that's kind of how the movie ends. Right. So again, that's a very brief description of the movie. I feel like that took me a long time to read through. There's a lot of fun details in the movie that we'll go over now. So there are a lot of Disney references in the movie that are very fun that I didn't touch upon. These are not in order with the movie, like going in like chronological order of the movie, but we're just going to kind of go through them. So the first one is that Asha is kind of the fairy godmother. So when she's running away from the castle, originally to kind of distract Magnifico, she's wearing the light blue cloak with a little pink ribbon and holding like a little wand in her hand, just like the fairy godmother in Cinderella looks. And then later on, Star makes her a real wand, and they actually reference her as she could be our fairy fairy godmother. So it's kind of referenced that she'd be a fairy godmother. I really
Right.
love that. That was so cute. What's one of the ones that you remember? I have them written down, but just so we don't miss them.
Oh, the
But-
one was the bear that helps to
Yes.
capture the friend who is the knight. He
Yeah.
knocks him down. He's called John.
Yeah.
And it made me think of Friar Tuck and John and everything.
Well, Little
from,
John from Robin Hood.
Right.
So in
Little
Robin
John
Hood, the
from
bear
Robin
is named
Hood.
Little John. So
Yes,
that's kind of
because
where it
when you
comes
realize that there are all these references going on, your mind starts
from. Yeah, you start to kind of look
thinking
for them a little
about
bit.
it.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because when he does that, he backs up and says, "I'm not the one you should be afraid of." Yeah. And then all these little rabbits show up. So it was really cute. Really, really cute.
Yeah, they had a lot of reference, I would say, to Bambi and to Snow White.
Yes.
Of course, we had the Seven Dwarves. That was a big one. At the end, when Magnifico is trapped in his staff, it resembles a mirror. So he's kind of trapped in a mirror, and the queen says to go hang the mirror in the dungeon. So it's kind of like the magic mirror in Snow White.
Right.
Even the fact then that the queen becomes like the main ruling queen, again, is kind of similar to Snow White as well.
Right.
When the animals all first come to life, the deer that comes to life, his name is called Bambi. Someone calls him Bambi. And we also have 3 little animals too. We have a bunny, a skunk, and a squirrel. So we can assume that these animals, they don't say this in the movie, but it's kind of like they look like Thumper, Flower, and Perry, also from
Right.
Bambi as well, which is kind of cute. The other thing too I know is when they're breaking into the study, Star causes a few things kind of to come to life. And one of the things is a quill that starts making the shape of a classic Mickey, and it's kind of stopped
Oh, yeah, the
midway.
Mickey ears. You see it right away.
Yeah, you see right away.
I even
it's
said it
drawing
out
little
loud. I
Mickey
said,
ears.
Mickey ears.
Yeah. Which I thought that was really cute. I
Yeah.
really love that.
And then when they try to escape the white horses that they get
Yes.
on, that they jump on.
Yeah, the white horses kind of resemble Maxwell from Tangled. Mm-hmm. And we also have 2 references to Peter Pan in this movie, too.
Yes.
So the first is that one of the wishes that Magnifico is using as an example wish sort of to Asha is a one of like a woman flying, kind of similar to how they fly in Peter Pan. And then later on, when he kind of absorbs that wish into himself, he says like, oh, this wish will never land. He literally says Neverland in the movie.
Neverland, right.
When he takes the wish. And then later on, when all the wishes are returned back to everyone, the queen introduces that girl to someone else who looks like Peter Pan.
Peter Pan,
who's
dressed
kind of
like Peter Pan, right.
saying that he's working on a flying contraption. So maybe they could work together on this
together.
flying contraption. What else do we have? How at the very end of the movie too, in like the end credits. So there is an end credit scene if you like to stay. The end credit scene. So again, Asha's grandfather's wish was to inspire people, but he inspires people. Looks like through music. So he's
By
kind of
music,
playing like
right.
a guitar
He plays
type
the
instrument.
little mandolin or
Yep.
guitar.
So at the very end of the movie, it is him sitting on like the tree that Ash used to sit with her father, and he's playing "When You Wish Upon a Star" to himself. And that's the last scene of the movie. Technically, that's the end credit scene. But again, just that whole idea of wishing upon a star is in
Right.
a lot of those early Disney movies.
Right, that brought back memories because that's what they used to play all the time. From Jiminy Cricket used to do it, especially on the Wide World of Disney when I used to watch it on Sunday nights.
Yeah, no, for sure. And then in the end credits, like as you're just watching the credits, made out of stars are shapes of many of the famous Disney characters going throughout the years. So I was saying too, like that's why we were saying like that could also be a reason why people wanted to stay.
Yes,
was
because
it was
you know
really
you could
cool
hear
to
them
see all
calling
of
out the names as they were seeing them because
Yeah.
everybody was identifying who was coming up as they were going through all the credits. So even though the credits were rolling on each side of the screen, I thought that was a very
Yeah, it was like characters
clever.
who are not in the movie. So like you'd see like, oh, there's Elsa, there's Moana, there's there's
Pocahontas.
boats.
Yeah, there was Stitch. There was
Yeah, there's like
Winnie the
random
Pooh.
characters. Yeah. So it was kind of fun to see that. So that was kind of like an interesting touch that they did.
Yes.
And I kind of feel like this movie was sort of like, again, where the magic started sort of in the world, you know? So it's like the magic came from the sky, from the star. And then that's kind of what jolted all the magic within like the Disney universe, so to speak. Of course, if you believe in the Pixar theory, there's lots of theories within the Pixar theory of like where magic began and you know, how it's all connected and everything. It's very interesting. However, I want to note that this movie is not a Pixar movie. It is a Disney animation movie. So this movie won't technically fit into the Pixar theory necessarily because it's not Pixar. So just something of note. However, I do think it is interesting how it does all connect. I do like to believe that. All right. Were there any other references that we're forgetting? I think that's all the ones I
No,
had.
that's the only ones I can think of. I'm
Yeah, I
sure
feel
there
like
were
there are
others.
definitely more,
But
but
like I
we're
said, we
just
only
missing-
saw it once so
Yeah,
far.
we only saw it once.
Yeah.
And there are no summaries online right now. So this summary is literally from my memory of seeing
Right.
the movie yesterday because there's nothing else to kind of reference. Sorry if you just heard that. My cat just swished her tail into the microphone. So, all right. So now we're going to go through our favorites. So your favorite character.
My favorite character was Asha. I gotta say, she really ruled the movie, obviously.
Yeah.
But she did. I mean, just the animation of her and her face and her eyes and her expressions and just how she moved. I thought she was great. I thought it was really, really a nice way to watch the movie.
Yeah, no, I loved Asha too. I wonder too because Asha is not a princess, so I wonder how they will market Asha in the future because she's not a Disney princess. I wonder she could very easily be a Disney princess. She has Disney princess vibes 100%.
She has Disney princess vibes.
But she's not a princess.
She
though.
she never becomes a
Even
princess.
at the end, she becomes like the fairy godmother, sort of. But she's
Yeah.
not. The queen isn't like, "Can you rule with me?" or
no,
something like that.
she doesn't
Nothing
become
like
the
that
queen.
happens.
She doesn't. Yeah. She doesn't become a
Although
part
we can
of that.
argue Mulan is also not a Disney princess.
No.
She also is treated as
Right.
a Disney princess.
So this one
I
could
don't
end
know.
up being, if people like her well enough. I'm telling you, she's a role model, obviously.
Yeah, for sure.
Very strong, very opinionated, very knows the right thing to do, and went and did it. Like, you know, like Milan. I mean, she just went and did what she had to do.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see her future within like the overall Disney scope of how they decide to use her. Because I think she could very well be looped in with all the Disney princesses. And I'm like, I would love that too. I think that'd be great too.
Yeah.
Especially if they do a sequel or something like that. They put her more in like a princess type role or like a ruling type role or something. Because clearly people are looking up to her too.
Right, very strong character.
Yeah, no, I agree though. I really loved Asha. I loved her idea too of being like, it is not kind of like, not just make it sound sad or anything, but it's like your responsibility to go after your dreams and your wishes. You know, that it's like you can't just rely on some magic to just make it happen for you.
Well, she also believed that it was right that if they didn't have somebody to help them, they should be able to go and pursue it on their own. Have that choice to pursue it, not pursue it. He was making the choice for them, so she didn't like that.
Yeah, so that idea of consent too is also in there as well, which I really like. My favorite character was Star. I loved Star.
It was
when
cute.
You see Star for the first time, it is such a, I mean, like Disney always knows how to make a cute little character.
Yes.
It is such a cute little character. He is tubby, first of all. He's like this round little star with his little points sticking out. He immediately takes this like kind of this like little outfit and he uses the yarn to like sew like knit things over time. Makes himself a little outfit. He makes himself a little hat. He makes himself all these little disguises.
Right. She says be discreet and he makes a little mustache.
Yeah, he's like walking his little mustache. It is so cute. I think Star is like the cutest little
Star
character.
was cute.
And Star obviously can't speak, but she kind of knows what Star is saying. Like they have that connection between them. But I love Star so much. And I'm excited to go to Disney. We're going to Disney in a few weeks now. And I'm assuming
Oh God, there's going to be a Star merchandise.
I'm assuming there has to be a little Star plushie somewhere. But I was saying I would love a little Star Nuimo to put it in the little outfits. I think that is so cute. Because when he was putting himself in the little outfits, I'm like, this is adorable. So, but I really love Star though. All right, what is your favorite scene?
My favorite scene was when Chris Pine, the Magnifico, was upset with everybody and was singing, "This is the thanks you get." Yeah. It was kind of like, it was one of the typical Disney thing where he was getting really annoyed and things were going and happening and, doing and whatever. And you could tell that he was really annoyed. It was very entertaining.
Yeah, no, I did like that scene too. I did think it was kind of funny because it's a very obvious like villain song in a way. But
yes, it was
like
an obviously villain temper tantrum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite scene, I have two favorite scenes. The first is when when Asha and all her friends are singing the song about like, we're going to fight back type of thing. The queen somehow finds them and just enters the room and they stop singing for a second. And then the queen just bursts into song with them and joins in with the singing and dancing. And when you're sitting there watching there as an adult, you're like, how does she know the choreography and lyrics to this song?
I didn't even think of that while she was doing it. Because I keep saying, it would not be a Disney movie if they didn't do that.
Yeah, and then at the end of the song, they all like did this dramatic pose. And I'm like, who are they posing for? Clearly they're posing for us, the audience behind the wall. But it's just like, I thought that was so funny that when I sat there. Yeah. The other scene that I thought was really funny was when Asha's friends are figuring out that she's hiding the goat and Star in kind of like a little closet where the chickens are kept.
Oh, yeah.
And so when they open up, and she tells them, like, you guys have to promise not to tell anyone. And she opens the door, and Star has enchanted all the chickens in this huge song and dance. And the goat, Valentino, is like the conductor of them. And they're doing this big
It was like a Beauty and the Beast scene when they do the food
like
scene. This was a chicken scene.
Yeah, it was so funny.
I have to admit.
And the friends were just like, what is going on?
The joke is that when we were reading the credits, as the credits came up, you could actually see when they did all the orchestra stuff, it actually listed the chicken ensemble.
Yes. We were like, where they got the chicken noises. Yeah. But it was so funny though. But I thought that
was a funny scene.
Part of that scene is in the trailer, but when you see it actually in like how it's incorporated into the movie, it is so funny.
It is funny.
I was laughing so hard. And I still think that scene was really
funny. It's entertaining.
Because can you imagine just opening that door and be like, what is going on?
Very good. Yes.
So I really love those. Those two scenes made me laugh especially. So I did like those scenes a lot. All right, what is your favorite song from the movie?
The same thing when the scene when he's singing, that's the thanks I get. I thought that was really great because he was getting really annoyed and he was singing like, obviously he was in love with himself and he thought that he was the best.
Yeah, I think that's the first lyric of the song is just like that he was so handsome.
Yes, I'm so handsome. I'm the handsome. With the mirrors and him looking in the mirrors and seeing that he's the handsome, king and that they should love him because he's the handsome king. He was so in love with himself that it was just so amazing that I thought that was my favorite.
Here, I found the lyrics. It is somewhere. Yeah. The first verse, I can't help it if mirrors love my face. It's genetics.
Yeah, genetics. That was hysterical. Genetics. Here I am. I'm gorgeous.
Yeah. So I do think that's kind of funny.
And when you realize it's Chris Pine, you say to yourself, he does look like Chris Pine.
Yeah. And Chris Pine is good looking.
Yes.
So yeah. My favorite song was their song about the wishes when the two of them sang. Oh. So I was telling my mom at first, when you hear the song, you're like, this seems more like a love song. Like it could be sung to each other as a love song about wanting to protect and love the other person. And then my mom pointed out it's the love that he has for the wishes and the love that she has for her family.
The love
is
for
kind of
himself
what it
too.
was.
He was singing to the wishes, knowing that they were his, and
he had the power.
Right,
yeah.
you knew from the very beginning that he was just in love with himself, and she was singing because of her love of her family, and the
But
actual.
I thought that was a really pretty song, though. I really liked that song a lot. So that was my favorite song. But yeah, that was her favorites, and I guess that was our overall review of the movie. So overall, we really liked it. I feel like we always like all the Disney movies. There's not a movie I've ever
there's
seen that I
very few.
dislike.
I mean, I think like I said, every once in a while, like Encanto, I liked, but I wasn't like I didn't come home and say, "Oh my God, you have to go see Encanto." It was the best one I've ever seen. That was
Encanto.
See, you loved it.
Yeah,
I
loved
kind of
Encanto.
looked at it and said, "Okay, it's good, it's okay," but not as much as I thought this one was entertaining, especially for kids.
Oh yeah, for
I
sure.
thought that this one, if you have a
we
family,
didn't see Encanto in theaters. We saw it on Disney Plus.
Oh, did we? Okay, maybe
when
that makes a
Encanto
difference.
came out, we watched it in the attic for the first time because I hadn't seen it either because it came to
I
Disney
thought we
Plus
saw it
first.
in the movies.
No, the last
Oh.
movie we saw in the movies before COVID hit was I think Coco.
Coco.
So that was one of the
yeah.
last ones we saw in
Okay.
theaters, and then once Encanto I think was like the 2020 Christmas or no Thanksgiving
Thanksgiving
movie, that
movie,
came out.
right.
So we would have seen it in theaters.
Okay, Coco came out in 2017, so we actually would have seen it a few years before COVID, and Encanto came out in November 2021, so it actually did go into theaters, but at the time in 2021, we were not going out and about just yet, so we did just watch it in the attic, and that is why, we never did see it in theaters, but it technically did go to theaters.
But we didn't.
Okay.
We watched it in the attic.
We would have because we couldn't.
Yeah,
go to
so
the
maybe that
theater.
affected our
Maybe that could have affected my
but-
opinion about that. But like I said, this one, if I had families, it definitely will keep different aged kids and adults entertained.
For sure.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I like this movie a lot, and I wonder if they're going to plan on a second one because I hope they do because I think it would be interesting how they continue her story or something, or they could just leave it as one. It was a good movie. I liked it. All right, so I guess that is our overall review of Wish. So we're going to
You go and enjoy it.
now into some
Yeah.
Disney news. If you're joining us again from our non-spoiler review, that was like only the first 3 minutes of the podcast. Welcome back. 20 minutes later. So we're going to go into some Disney news. So we will say we are pre-recording a lot of podcasts this week because in a couple weeks we're actually going to Disney World. So because of that and because of the holidays, we have to pre-record. So we're pre-recording a lot right now. So I'm only going to do a little bit of Disney news this week just to try to spread out the current Disney news we have into other weeks since I won't be able to do a lot of Disney news live. But the main thing first related to Asha, you can now meet Asha in Epcot for meet and greets. There's also lots of Wish merchandise in the parks as well. I couldn't figure out exactly where Asha was in Epcot when I was looking at the photos. I'm not 100% sure where she is, but if you go into Epcot, you will be able to find it pretty easily if you just ask a cast member, where can we meet Asha? So I think that would be really cool. So go meet Asha and say hello. And the other Disney news I have is that the Christmas season is officially in full swing in Disney World. There's a lot going on. We have the Gingerbread House in the Grand Floridian that you can walk up to and buy treats from. We have the Gingerbread Carousel and the Beach Club. We have the Gingerbread Lighthouse and the Yacht Club. We have lots of gingerbread displays at the Boardwalk, in the Polynesian, and in the Contemporary Resorts. So I think every major hotel has some kind of gingerbread display. Maybe not as big, obviously, as the Gingerbread House in Grand Floridian, but some kind of little display that you can look at. Not again, the Beach Club has the carousel, which is like the big one, of course. I love the carousel. I think that's like one of the coolest things.
Hopefully, we'll get to see as many as we can.
So lots of gingerbread displays. Gertie in Hollywood Studios is now decorated with her little hat and her ornament in her mouth. There is 2 new popcorn tins. There's one that's kind of like a bigger tin that has like this little spinning thing in the middle, and then there's also a Mickey Soldier popcorn bucket. There is a lot of new eats, obviously, for all of the holiday treats. There's a reindeer snow show sundae. There's a hot cocoa churro. There's a peppermint eclair, amongst lots of other treats.
So
going
many.
on.
I know.
And that is also because Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party is in full swing. I've heard lots of good reviews about it so far, although I have heard that because of the rain right now in Florida, some people are getting rained out a little bit during it. Same thing with the Holly Jollywood Nights, or the Disney's Jollywood Nights in Hollywood Studios. That also looks really festive and fun. I'm hearing lots of different reviews across the board over Jollywood Nights. Some people are saying it's super fun. They love it. They love the Tip Top Club at Tower of Terror. Then other people are saying it's not really worth it, that it's kind of expensive. You don't really get that much more out of it. So I don't know. Lots of back and forth. So I definitely just say do your research if you want to go to the Jollywood Nights.
Well, it's a new thing. Either they're going to read the reviews and maybe knock out some of the kinks and do whatever, because it is the first year they've offered it.
Yeah, for sure.
So
So-
it may change and evolve like everything else does.
Yeah, I think the thing is though is that because there's a lot of shows in this nights,
Right.
If you don't see the shows, then you're missing out on a lot of good
Yeah,
things
and
that
I
they're
heard
offering.
that one of the big complaints I heard of most people talking was that it's not for kids.
Yes.
Except for the rides. Most of it is not for kids.
Yeah,
it's
'cause it's
more
very
geared
show-based,
towards an
yeah.
adult kind of thing. So people who bought tickets having all these kids said, we spent all this money and we thought it was going to be geared more towards the children.
Yeah.
So I think because it's brand new, people didn't know what to expect. So I think once they kind of feel what the expectations are,
Yeah.
then it will will level out a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. I guess one of the things they probably could do, maybe try to do like a dance party or something, the way they did during the Moonlight Magic for the
Right.
kids, because I know kids love stuff like that.
Yeah, they love to get involved in getting the.
And
get on the
because there's
floor.
no parade either, that's like a big draw for a lot of kids and families to sit and watch a parade rather than try to like cram together and to watch a show that, you know, kids may not be that interested in or something.
Right.
So not sure. But yes, I heard mixed reviews. So I guess, you know, definitely decide for yourself if it's right for you and your family. But it does look very festive and fun. You can also meet Santa in Hollywood Studios as well by Pizza Rizzo. So you can meet Santa in Magic Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, and Epcot. And I guess, I don't know if he's in Animal Kingdom. No idea.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't think he was never really in Hollywood Studios
Yeah,
either.
that's what I didn't think either. So I think this is the first year he's in Hollywood Studios. I think it's maybe because of the Jollywood Nights that they brought him into
They
Hollywood
brought Santa
Studios
in,
to have that.
yes, which I think is good because then people have more chances to go to
Yeah,
Santa
to
as
go
opposed to
meet
just
Santa.
those two.
Yeah.
Because we used to go every year the day after Thanksgiving because we used to have off the whole week of Thanksgiving, so we'd go down to Disney. We always used to go the day after Thanksgiving before we went home to go see Santa in Epcot.
Yeah. And the last little thing I just want to mention is that Living with the Land now has its overlay on top of it.
Oh, I can't wait for that.
holidays.
I love that.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things. That's why I wanted to mention it. So Living with the Land, within the recent years, they've been theming Living with the Land with the festivals in Epcot. So of course we have Festival of the Arts in January to I guess February basically is Festival of the Arts. Garden from March to July. The Food and Wine from like end of July, early August until about November time. And then now we're in Festival of the Holidays. And for Festival of the Holidays, they deck it out with lights everywhere.
We have to go at night. So
It is
it's-
so pretty.
Yeah.
It is so lovely. I love it so much. It's one of my favorite things now in Disney
I
World.
love Living with the Land anyway. We go on it every
Yeah,
time
I'm so
we're
happy
there.
that they started doing that. 'cause
Yes, I think
is
it's
so
great
fun.
that they change it up and you see these little details as you go through.
Yeah, and I love the lights seeing and Living with the Land. So you can still see them during the day, but definitely in the nighttime, it's very fun to see all the lights at nighttime. So definitely recommend that. So, yeah, so that's all the Disney news for right now. There was more Disney news, but again, I'm going to save that for some future podcast episodes. So in coming weeks, make sure you stick around for that. But now we'll transition into some Disney birthdays. So first we have Luca Paguro on November 20th. So happy birthday to Luca. I do love Luca. He's so cute. We also have Tarzan on November 22nd. So happy birthday also to Tarzan. And then also I just want to point out that if you are living in the United States of America, we have Thanksgiving on November 23rd. So happy Thanksgiving to everyone who is celebrating
happy
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
And yeah, then we can transition into some Disney memories. So do you have a Disney memory for today's podcast?
Disney memory is Santa Claus.
Santa Claus.
It is my biggest Disney memory. We went to we have a picture that we put out every Christmas of the four of us dressed in like summer clothes around Santa Claus. And unfortunately, because Amanda was afraid of Santa Claus, I'm trying to sit on Santa Claus's knee
First
without.
of all, you get jammed into your head, stranger danger, and then you're like, go sit on that stranger's lap and take a photo.
So I'm kind of sitting on Santa's lap with Amanda sitting on me. So I'm trying not to sit on this poor man's lap with all of that, all my weight and her weight. So I remember that very, very clearly so we could get a picture with Santa. Because every year we got pictures with Santa, whether they were happy or not happy. We got pictures with Santa from when they were born all the way up until they stopped going to see Santa. So that's my biggest memory.
Yeah. Also, sorry if you can hear that bell. It's just my
Yes.
cat scratching herself.
Yeah,
so she's scratching
that's
her
Morocco
collar, so sorry if you can hear her in the
entertaining herself.
background. I would say my Disney memory is just watching all the movies growing up. You know, like we always loved watching all the Disney movies. And again, for the Thanksgiving movie, we have always seen it right before Thanksgiving.
Yes, we always go on Wednesday night.
I was gonna say usually we went on the Wednesday night before Thanksgiving, and we were gonna see Wish the Wednesday night before Thanksgiving too. But then I got an email to get the early screening tickets, so I figured it worked out better timing wise for us to just see
Otherwise,
it on
we'd
Saturday.
be going Wednesday night.
Yeah, so I'm really glad that we got to see it. I love seeing all the movies before Thanksgiving, and I think Disney always does really well with these movies. I mean, like I always say though, I'm very easily entertained.
Yes.
I just sit there, you
Well,
turn your
because
mind
you have
off,
to-
and you open up your mind.
Right. You have to look at it as these movies are supposed to be entertaining.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be entertaining. They're supposed to be funny. They're supposed to be sad. They're supposed to get your emotions. And they're supposed to be pretty. You know, you're
have, like,
supposed
a
to look
moral
at
to the
them and just
story.
forget
Yeah.
what's going on and just fall into whatever's going on. And like I said, they do their movies in their typical way they do things. There's the excitement and the small stuff and the pretty stuff. And, they just do everything they need to do. And I think they're entertaining. Like I said, some are better than others. But I really have to say there's not one that I could actually say, oh, I don't want to see that one again.
No, same here. So yeah, so I love all the Disney movies, and I would definitely recommend seeing Wish. Obviously, this is not sponsored. I mean, like I don't think anyone thinks our podcast is sponsored.
No,
so
no, it's all
you're
a
not one of
choice.
the main Disney podcasts podcasts out there. But make sure, although if you do listen, make sure you let us know. So yeah, so thanks everyone for listening today. Make sure you give us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or leave a comment down below if you're watching on YouTube. And follow us on social media. We are currently Spaceship Earth Design everywhere. And I will have a dedicated Instagram post for this episode. So if you see Wish or you're not able to see Wish yet, let us know on our Instagram post what you think of the movie, what you think of other past movies, and anything at all. So yeah, so thanks everyone for listening. And I hope you have a really great Thanksgiving.
Okay, bye-bye.
Happy Thanksgiving. And I'll see you real soon.